What's up, you guys? It's Victoria from UnderVictoriaSpell, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about a trope that I have recently been really loving and I wanted to give some recommendations for, and that trope is forced proximity. I feel like it just ups that angst. It just gets that sexual chemistry, the chemistry between the characters that just make them fall in love with each other. So I'm excited to talk about these 5 romance books that have some sort of forced proximity aspect. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the 2 physical books that I own first. And I feel like this first one, you don't really hear anybody talk about this author that much, but I really enjoy her writing and I devoured all of her books. And so the first one is Swing by Opal Carew. This is an older book. I actually found it at my used bookstore and I picked up all of the books that she had there. Really enjoyed this. This is definitely heavy on the smut, so please know that before going in, that like it does have a plot, but like there's some questionable things that go on in this book. This follows our heroine as she is having to be fake engaged to her boss because her boss is wanting to buy this resort. But this resort holds pretty much like sex club meetings and parties for people that are into polyamory relationships. So her boss asked her to go so that they can go undercover and pretend to be a couple that is into swinging and open marriages so that he can kind of get his feel for if this is the right resort for him, a great business venture. Also, our heroine is kind of in love with her boss, so she's like, this is the perfect opportunity for us to really explore this romance together. Now, whenever she gets there, she meets her hero. And this hero is actually a private investigator that was hired by the current manager of this resort because the manager knows that someone is coming undercover to check out this hotel and she wants to know who it is. So she's pretending to be in a fake marriage with this private investigator. So a lot of fake marriage is going on, a lot of forced proximity because they are on this island together in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of other swingers. And actually it is our private investigator hero and our assistant to this boss and the other relationship. It is their romance together. And it was so good. I devoured this book in one day. I just loved that they both had their own little investigations going on. They were stuck on this island. None of them, except the manager, is actually a swinger. So it was just so fun to kind of see their reactions to everything and kind of, force themselves to be in these very compromising positions. It was really good. If you have not checked out this author, you definitely should. And the next one that I'm going to talk about is a book that I've talked about before, but I feel like this really puts forced proximity like in a great definition for this book, and that is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I really enjoyed this book. It follows our heroine as she is having to move into her boyfriend's dad's house because they are broke and they lost their lease to their apartment. And it is dad's girlfriend's romance. So of course it's forced proximity because they are having to live together. And not only that, but Pike, who is our hero in this romance, he really is struggling because he wants to have a good relationship with his son, but it's been very hard. And so this is a great opportunity for him to get close to his son, but he is slowly but surely falling in love with his son's girlfriend. So it's forbidden, taboo, and they're living in this house together. and they just have so much in common compared to our heroine and her boyfriend. He just does not treat her right, and Pike treats her as a mature adult, and Pike is just really struggling with his head and his heart and what's best for his son and himself. So it's a really hard journey to watch them go on, because you just want nothing but the best for each of these characters, and it's just really, really hard. But the slow burn in this is slow burn. So if you do not like slow burn, this is not for you. I'm pretty sure nothing even happens until like 70% into the book. That is slow burn. I was ready to throw this book across the room at about 50% because I was like, this is so exhausting. I need something to happen. But it finally did. Really enjoyed this romance, and there is just a few scenes that I still think about to this day. So definitely pick this book up if you have not. And the next book that I'm going to talk about is actually a novella, and it's by one of my favorite authors of all time, and that's Sarah Kate. And I'm going to be talking about Handsome Devil. I really enjoyed this novella. It is forced proximity road trip. Pretty much our heroine has found out that her best friend is getting married in Vegas, and she has no way to get there. And so her best friend's like, you can just ride with my dad. And her and her dad do not have a good relationship with her best friend, so she only thinks bad thoughts about her dad's best friend, or her best friend's dad. So she is not looking forward to this trip at all. And but they're going across the country together to go to Las Vegas to hopefully be there at her best friend's wedding and his daughter's wedding. He's going there to stop the wedding. She's going there to be the supportive best friend. So it's very awkward in the beginning, but obviously you're in a car driving across the country. You're gonna have to get to know each other and break the ice somehow. So I really loved this. It was super entertaining to kind of navigate through the awkwardness of these two people. Plus it is taboo because it is an age gap romance. It is, you know, best friend's dad, so there's that aspect of it. But it was a really fun romance. It was a super quick read. If you're looking for something that's kind of a little bit more lighthearted with the forced proximity, a little bit shorter, and has a little bit of a comedy aspect to it, I think this is a really good one. Sarah Kate just really knows how to capture her readers from the very beginning. So definitely pick out Handsome Devil if you have not. And the next one that I'm going to talk about is one that I have read this year, and that is Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. I never say her name right, so I'm so sorry if I completely butchered that. But this is a very unique forced proximity romance. It is heavy, so please know that going into it, that it follows our hero and heroine as they are kind of having to be put together in the same apartment to be able to adopt their siblings based off of the circumstances that they are in. Our heroine is adopting her newborn baby sister, and our hero is adopting his, I believe, 14-year-old brother who is deaf. So they both come from very traumatic past with their family. There's a lot of issues, so they're coming in with a lot of issues. And our heroine and our hero are kind of both grumpy, but he's more grumpy than she is. And they're both just trying to fight for their family, and they just bicker with each other. He does not want to have a relationship with her. He just doesn't trust people, and she is trying to be more open to the experience because she obviously did not expect to have to become a foster parent at this young of an age of 18. So she's struggling a lot, and I really enjoyed the journey that they went on together because they come from really hard past, but they are both fighting for the freedom to make their own future and path together. And I loved how our hero really did step up and step in when our heroine was really struggling with becoming a parent to a newborn. Loved this. I thought their connection was very, very genuine. And if you have not picked up this book yet, you definitely should. Please check a couple of your trigger warnings because it does deal with some semi-heavy topics. And the last book that I'm going to talk about is another Sarah Kate book. No surprise, but she just does forced proximity so well. And I don't think I've given this book enough love on my channel. And this is Free Fall. This is book 2 in the Wild Boys series. You can read them as standalones, but you are going to get a little bit of a spoiler of who she does not end up with in book 1. So please know that this follows the other character who did not get his happy ending. And this one is a little unhinged, I'm not gonna lie. It is a MMF romance. It is age gap and it is forced proximity because they are all on this island together. It's called, I think it's Delray Island or something like that. So pretty much each of these characters are coming in with a complicated past. You have our main hero who has lost his brother, who has lost the love of his life, and he is just ready to really cause some chaos, and he is just a hot mess. You have our other hero who is best friends with our hero's dad, has a past relationship with our hero, heartbroken over what has happened between these two in the past, is just feeling very broken. And then you have our heroine, who she is a athlete. She does ballet and she got injured and she's no longer doing that. And her family is very, very hard on her and really just, if she's not perfect, then she cannot be part of the family. So she has a lot of mental health issues dealing with the expectations of her family. So they all end up on this island together. They all do know each other. They all have a past, and it is their romance together, navigating each of their own past, their own trauma, and trying to come together and heal. There is some very dark moments in here. Please check your trigger warnings because there is some very questionable things that happen in here, but it was very important to the story. But it was so good. Like, this was a heavier topic because it does deal with a lot of trauma. It's dramatic and it was just everything I needed at this time. And the fact that they're on this island together in the middle of nowhere, like there's no one else around except these 3 people, just picked up that angst because they have no one else to talk to but each other. So I really liked it. Sarah Kate does absolutely amazing and you need to check it out. And that's all I have for today, guys. I love forced proximity. If you have any forced proximity romance recommendations, please let me know. I am such a mood for the angst of forced proximity. So that's all I have, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.